I have this sense that my life is distilling in some way. It is configuring in a new way. Reconfiguring. There is this sense when I say my life is reconfiguring. That the field of my presence as a vibratory field and the energies of that field, the very vibration of that field, and much like the vibration of the heart that's represented in an EKG, for instance, can represent the structure and the operation and the health of that heart. So too does the vibration of my presence. The very who-ness of who I am. Represent. Actually, it more than represents. It is a structural field of energy. Originating from God, originating from the fabric of the universe, which is also God, and the very substance and very vibration of this field that is my presence, the emanation of God that I am, the vibration of who I am. Not only is it that, but it is also that which sends a vibratory field into the physical and existential world. And the metaphor of the heart and the EKG is perhaps broader than we typically think. And what I mean by that is that the heart in its vibration, its electromagnetic impulses that are measured through an EKG, are actually sending out that electromagnetic vibration throughout the whole body, but also outwardly from the body into the auric field, if you will, and resonating outward into the world. As a vibration that's measurable. And likewise, this field of presence, the very vibration of who we are existentially, at the level of what I call the emanation of God, of who we each are, so too is that a vibratory field on multi-dimensions. Within our body, within our psyche, within the operative field of our mind-body complex, and also a vibratory field out into the existential and physical worlds. And as such, And knowing what I call the intermutual nature of reality, where everything is intermutually reacting and responding and receiving and giving simultaneously at the local and non-local levels. So too does this vibration of who we are, of who our presence is, send out signals that are received by others, signals that are given to and received by everything in our immediate environment and everything in the local and collective fields of human consciousness. What I'm referring to here as well is that the clarity of this field, the consistency of this field that which we hold within it including the clarity and including what could be called inconsistency tensions, which are internal conflicts or the conflicts we have with the external world at the most highest amplitude and the most subtle. So too is this compendium and collective of our vibrational field. Like the pheromones of our body, they are the pheromones the subtle wave patterns and the high amplitude wave patterns that move out into the world. That reach out into the world of everything outside of the body, if you will. And in so doing, they influence everything around us, including the physical atmosphere, the biosphere, the people, the relationships, and everything. And with everything being intermutual, and interconnected and inter-influencing, so too does this vibrational pheronome, if you will, influence everybody and everything and all parts of the existential and physical worlds. And as such, so too is everything receiving it and responding in its own way, in their own way, to that vibration. So we each are an emanation of God, an emanation of the ground of being, the fabric of existence. As is everything in the physical world. There is no separation from that. There is no getting around that. There is no way to be alive other than to be that emanation of the universe. And the ground of being for me is completely what I call intermutual, which is this simultaneous, inter-influencing we each have with each other, and that everything has with each other, at the local and non-local, meaning at the finite and at the infinite levels, all simultaneously happening. That's the nature of the universe. And I believe it was David Bohm who called this the folding and enfolding, or the folding and unfolding of the universe, or the time-space continuum. Quantum physics talks about this as local and non-local influence. It's just how the universe works. But back to the originating point earlier of the distillation and reconfiguring and clarity of what is happening within this vibratory field for me. And with the hopes here that as I explore this, and with the energy and transmission of this, that this way of opening, this way of listening, this way of being in contact with one's self, one's inner life, and with the intermutuality of that inner life, simultaneously in touch with the relationships we have. So it's not solipsistic, it's not isolated, it's not a split from relationship or the environment or the people or the collective human field in our world, in our local worlds. And with us each being an emanation of God, may this exploration that I'm doing here support you in coming into the fullest contact of who you are in body, in heart, in mind, in spirit, in connection with the universe, and in clarifying and understanding and coming about differently in all your relationships, including your relationships with the environment, the biosphere, the collective. The work and offering that you do in the world, the creativity that you bring into the world, and as well to support what I call your wisdom intent, which is that core driving focus, the core flow of pure potential through you. And what that means for what you want to do overall in life with the particular life that you have. And again, back to the phrases of distillation and reconfiguration and clarity and focus, to which I would also add meaning. Wisdom intent. Belonging. What I am experiencing is this non-cluttered, inner awareness. And it's curious that in even naming that or recognizing it or speaking from it, in order to name it, that not only does my body feel met and accepted and loved and understood, but so too does joy arise, and the pleasure of joy, if you will. from deep within my enteric brain. And along with that is this sense of the soul level of who I am, feeling met and happy and joyous. But then so too with this, what I call the keel to tip of mast plumb line, direct emanation of God that we each are. So too do I feel that God feels like God is being listened to and heard and understood. But it's even more than that. What I feel is that this field of God, or of source, of the universe, of the fabric of the universe, of pure potential, and which includes love and belonging and infinite love and infinite giving and infinite flow of living and flow of livingness. The desire to be alive, the desire to create, the desire to enjoy being alive, the desire to share in being alive, share in that enjoyment, share in that love, intermutually, infinitely intermutually. So too does all of that arise. And in this plumb line, this metaphor of keel to tip of mast, emanating from God, or from the source, or from the time-space continuum, from the ground of being, through all the multi-dimensions of the universe, into the physical world, through me and this presencing field, and through my body. So too is there this clarity that I referred to earlier. And this clarity is coherence across the multidimensionality of all that I've mentioned. Where all aspects of that multidimensionality are at peace with each other. Where they love each other, if you will. Where we are snuggled up against each other, if you will, or where they, all of these interdimensional fields, are snuggled up against each other. And comfortable with that. And cool with that. And in the understanding of the intermutuality and the co-creativity and the co-generative nature of existence. And this clarity feels like it emanates from the actual intermutual field, the intermutual fabric, the intermutual nature of all of these multidimensional fields. So that clarity is not that all the facts are lined up, or that there's no more conflicting facts or any of that. It's not cognitive, but experiential and existential and part of the fabric of the universe, part of the fabric of this multidimensional coherence. In other words, it's built into the system of the universe. And within this experience of clarity is an incredible sense of peace, an incredible sense of quiet. And what I've referred to as sacred quiet. Eternal quiet. Eternal stillness. Eternal peace. Eternal clarity and light. Pristine clarity, pristine light. Up and down this continuum, if you will. And in this clarity of light is God and man. God and the physical. Light and matter. The wavicles of God as light and matter. As everything. So as I go here in the sharing of this as well, I sit with the question for myself and for others in terms of what is the so what of this? in my life? What is the so what of this in each of our lives? And by that question, I mean, what difference does it make? In my operative life, as I walk step by step in all the vicissitudes that make up my life, I have come to understand, as a bit of a long answer to that question, I'll start here with what I call the mechanics of questions. And what I mean by that is in this infinite field of pure potential that God is, that the physical world is, that the universe is, and that with each of us as an emanation of that comes through us as well. Packed into every question is an answer, simultaneous with the question. I could spend a whole hour on this perhaps, because there are questions that are clear, there are questions that are contradictory, there are questions that have perhaps a hidden bias or supposition or conclusion within them, obscuring what the question might really be, thus as well the answer. But nonetheless, every question has an answer which includes an understanding of the clarity of the question, or the obfuscation of the question, or the contradictory nature of the question, whatever it happens to be. So that the more clear, the more real or true that a question is, the more direct the answer will be. But just to summarize, I hold that every question has a simultaneous answer, and it is only our own internal conflict that might preclude us from seeing that simultaneity. So with that in mind, I'll continue with the question of what is the so what of this? As I look out into my life, from this place of clarity of which I have spoken, and from this place of peace and coherence. I feel a book could be written, so I will work to elaborate on this over time, but do want to touch what I'm experiencing. So as I look out, even from this place of quiet and clarity and peace, into the physical room where I am, as a starting place with looking out into my life, what I experience is that everything is in place. Everything is grounded. Everything is still. Everything is within this clarity and within this peace. And it includes my unfinished cup of coffee, all the papers on the coffee table in front of me, the yoga mat and yoga blocks haphazardly strewn in front of the fireplace where I left them from my practice yesterday. The plants that are around me, and some of which need to be trimmed. Every chair in the broader sense of the home that's just been left where I got up from it without having pushed it back to its place. And as I move around the house, I could say the unmade bed, my office where all the papers are backlogged, and on and on. And also looking out into my life in terms of my relationships, with significant others, with people I work with, and just like the unfinished business, if you will, or the reflection of life that all of the physical belongings hold in the place where they were last left, if you will. So too with every relationship, just as it is. In this clarity, in this light, in this peace. this silence. And I could look out into any other aspect of my life from this place, including my finances, my age, my health. The vehicle that I own that needs a service call. And even broader into the human collective of everything going on in the world today. All the conflicts, all the polarization, the coronavirus. Etc. It is all within this pristine light. This pristine clarity and peace. And in this infinite presence of God. Just as it is. And in a certain sense, with it all in its movement, in its self-arising nature of being alive, in a certain sense, it is like it's all standing still in this peace. And in this quiet, in this pristine light. And what I'm also referring to is this sense of this level of pristine light and awareness and connection and emanation from the divine inherent within everything. And the consciousness of this inherent light and divinity and emanation is actually in everything as well. And it seems that such an awareness state is merely the recognition of that innate understanding and awareness and consciousness. And peace and sacred silence. New paragraph. And for those who are holding this field of awareness, or participating in this level of awareness, as we are here, there is also this sense of this level of consciousness, this level of awareness coming through each of us, saying to the other in that intermutual nature, wake up. Wake up to who you are. And to who we each are at this fabric level of God, of the universe, of the time-space continuum, of the 0-point field of pure potential, of the nature of the universe and of life and of living and of livingness itself. Wake up. To who you are. Wake up to who we each are. The nightmare, if you will, of being separate from ourselves, from our true nature, from our embedded and inherent emanation from and as the ground of being, and all of the, if you will, malapropisms of human existence and consciousness that arise from that. That nightmare is over. And we can take off that nightmare as the cloak it has been, and look at it and go, huh, I wore that for a long time. but it no longer fits. It's no longer useful. It no longer serves my heart, my body, my mind, my presence, my life, my friends, my family, our spouses, our environment, our human collective field, our significant others. And this pristine clarity, as infinite and immense as it is at that level of existence, is also this most gentle hand of God, touching our shoulder in the morning, as a parent might do with their child. With that exquisite and direct and soft and deep touch, that says, wake up. It's okay to start a new day. It's okay and welcomed to be excited about a new day. It's okay to bring yourself and all of who you are, and all of what your heart is, and all of that emanation of God that you are, right where you are. It's okay to bring all of that into the world. Let's go have some breakfast.